All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're playing some Call of Cthulhu today. We're continuing our internalized campaign, and Steven was telling me how I was just naturally irritable, and I'm sure that's not gonna come back to bite him. When I say
I've
Jack
said
Pisner,
much worse things to you right before
entire
a campaign
congregation
starts.
No, it's true, and it's not even just before a campaign starts. I can just let me just go to my Discord history here and pull this fertile ground.
I'm gonna get canceled so fast.
Every time I give you a handout, it's just gonna be something that gets Pastor Wood canceled. Oh goodness. Anyhow, we're continuing. We're still in Arkham. We'll probably go through a couple more of these kind of home scenes or investigator development scenes, and then we will pick a location. We will head out in that direction. We'll see where we go, and all that good stuff. So before we do that, I want to go ahead and just introduce some folks and tell us who you're playing. So Steven, tell us a little bit about Pastor Wood.
Hello, I'm playing Pastor Wood. He is a lawman. He practices both Old Testament law and Texas law, although currently he is not actually practicing law at all. He's on hiatus from being an evangelist, and he's retired from Texas Rangers. He's hanging out in Northern Virginia.
So what law were you following when you assaulted a man for no reason?
Eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye. Gotcha.
Are you talking about Mo Pisner? Because he did hit me first.
Oh, I wasn't talking about Mo Pisner. I meant the man who was talking to
assault?
Carmela. Yeah. You just kind of, I mean,
okay.
You
we haven't gotten to
hit
the bottom of that. That's just Pisner with the
and
tan.
fell like an old man to the ground, and everyone had to help you up. But anyhow, next up, Melissa tells a little about Marie.
Yeah, Marie Wynn is a jazz singer who is a bit on hiatus from doing the jazz singer stuff to investigate things. But she is currently a bit happy to be back in Arkham and cuddling with her cat.
Fantastic. Did I tell you your cat spontaneously combusted last week?
No. That was the book. That was not the cat.
No, the cat was there too. Boom, gone. Look at that. Oh, Princess Clarabella. That's a shame. Is it Clarabella? Was that her name? Princess Clarabella?
The cat's name is Clara. But nicknames and whatnot. Princess Clara, Princess Clarabelle. All sorts of fun nicknames for cuddly cat.
I don't know why. Why did I say Princess Clarabelle? I don't know why I had that in my head. Okay. Next up, Maitre, tell us about Shaima.
Shaima Aron is your student researcher who is going to miscrank you on a full ride wrestling scholarship. And now that she's back home, she is remembering the value of the half truth to her parents. And that's really what's driving her forward right now. Is sort of telling the truth.
It's funny because you've been gone for 2 weeks basically, and in that time you never told your parents that you left town. Oh goodness, I'm sure that's going to go over.
This is only going to go well. There is no way this go anything except well.
Absolutely, I think it's just going to be heartwarming. It's honestly what it's going to be. Speaking of heartwarming, Bev. Ashley, tell us about Bev. How's she doing?
My name is Dr. Beverly Key. And then she just kind of spaces out.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting there reading this lovely journal in her bathrobe.
That is an interesting word for it.
It's definitely not lovely. It's actually hideous. Mm-hmm. And nightmare inducing, and she did have
amnesia inducing.
Yeah. So is she in her office? Is she in someone's attic? I don't know, but that's where Beverly's at right now.
Fantastic. And then finally, we've got Patrick Price Long. Tell us about Patrick.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Patrick Price. No, I'm not French. Just something Anna taught me. She's from French Canada.
Are you serious? She's a French Canadian?
Canadian.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I can't wait till Kipser comes back and she sneaks into our Call of Cthulhu and I can make more French references. Oh, and if we meet Anna, then I can do like a really bad French Canadian accent and it's totally legit and fair. Let's see. Oh, before we keep going, our friends, Tales of Myth and Mayhem, thank you so much for the raid. Really do appreciate it. Thanks, Mark. Hopefully your Mask of Nyarlathotep went well. You start up New York. I saw today. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay. We ready? Let's do some summaries. Let's get this get this going. Last time around, we were en route to Arkham on our way back from Los Angeles when Shima had a very, very terrible dream on the plane. She's the only one to wake up. Marie's head broke in half and there was a mouth in the base of it or something. Frank Kearns, the pilot, had a large toothy sphincter where his face should be. And then the plane flew directly into a sun that is actually a giant mouth on the horizon. And then Shima woke up and everything was fine. Everyone tried to comfort you and everything, but you're kind of losing a little bit. And you were in Arkham. Everything's great. It's wonderful. So you started visiting some friends and some workplaces and stuff. No one actually visited family, which was fascinating until the very end when Pastor Wood finally went and visited family. But everyone kind of went and did some business, avoided family, all that kind of good stuff. Let's see. Who did what? Patrick, you went back to your barbershop. We met your partner, Peter or Petey. You got some messages from Anna, your French Canadian. Bonjour, Peter, Patrick, where are you? And then, something like that. I don't know. And then eventually Pastor Wood crashed at your place. Let's see, what else happened? You tried to check in on the telegrams you sent to Carmela at the LA hotel, but found that she hadn't returned. So you decided to travel down to Virginia. That's where you found your circuit church. Didn't take very long. Then you have this moment of deja vu where you saw a scene that looked exactly like the one that you had in a dream out in LA. And you found Carmela, your wife, speaking with a man who I think called himself Jerry and chuckled, not unlike Jack Pisner. And so you attacked him because that's what someone does. That's what a rational human being does. He laughed it off because you tripped and fell to the ground and looked really silly. Bev, you returned to campus. You checked in with a colleague who'd been covering your classes. You went through your messages. You find some stuff from Hamish McDunn. You found a lovely note from Ed Exley, all that kind of stuff. You started reading Trammell's testament, and time seemed to slip on you. You found all sorts of these strange correspondence between Trammell and folks in Mexico City, Bangkok, and Malta, all about nectar, and basically indicating that nectar is a international thing. It's not just localized to LA. You discovered revelations that Echeverria had apparently, according to Trammell, been lying to the cult back in 1924, and that Golgoroth, this entity that you heard several times now, was not, in fact, the deity that they were venerating, but in fact, it was somebody that Trammell referred to as the Black Man or Nyarlathotep. And so, Bev, you became fairly engrossed, fairly entranced, and at some point, Shima found you in your Miskatonic University office in your bathrobe, reading Trammell's words, muttering to yourself in the corner. Shima, you reach out to your parents, never mentioning you've been out of town, promising you'll be in touch again soon. Marie, you met with your friend Nancy on the outskirts of Arkham. You reunited with your cat, Clara, and you drank a bottle of wine with your friend, and then suddenly your bag spontaneously burst into flames. You put out the fire, reveal that Douglas Henslow's notebook that you had discovered in Savannah, hidden in their cemetery, had been destroyed, and Nancy's countertop forever scarred. Next, Marie, you took a short-run gig at the Hotel Miskatonic, singing in front of their house band, and that's where you ran into Janet Winston Rogers, who told you that she had a dream about you recently, that the two of you were exploring the streets of this older, rugged city. She thinks it might have been Mexico somewhere, possibly. You were listening to jazz music. The music suddenly turned sour. Cop cars suddenly arrived, started giving chase. This unseen flock of birds was squawking in the air, and the two of you are running all the way through these very circuitous alleys. And eventually you stopped. You turned on her. You had a gun in one hand and a snake in the other. You shot her in the stomach, and you let the snake bite. And then that's when Janet woke up, and you spilled a drink right there on her belly. And you saw the water or the drink or the whatever it was you were drinking, gin and tonic, whatever it might be, begin to swell. And it looked not unlike a gunshot wound. So we're going to pick up Let's see. Who wants to go first? Let's start with Pastor Wood. Pastor Wood, you're off in Virginia. After the embarrassment that was your inability to beat up this man, and after this kind of strange fit of deja vu, what does Pastor Wood do for the next few days with his family?
Yeah, Pastor Wood needs a breather. He went through a lot in LA. He got physically beat up several times. His sanity took a couple hits. So he would be focusing specifically on resting and relaxing. Not even necessarily with like the congregation. Most of the congregation is not transient like he is. There are some that follow along. But normally it's just him and his staff who are mostly like family and extended family or friends. But he would be spending time specifically with his brother, his wife, but most of all his son Obadiah. So being in Virginia, he would probably be going out in the backwoods with Obi and finding ways to just be secluded, be out in nature, maybe like Andy Griffith Mayberry, they're walking a dirt road with some fishing poles going for a creek. Just trying to spend time together, and he would be specifically just trying to, teach Obadiah, all the tricks that you learn in the backwoods, like part of growing up, trying to encourage that.
So in Obadiah's, did we say 11? Is that how old he is?
11, yes.
Okay. So at some point, as you're moving about in the backwoods and you're showing him tracking skills or pointing out this critter or that critter or whatever it might be, he turns to you and he says, what do you think he calls you? Like Dada, Father,
Pa.
Papa, Pa? Pa? Can I ask you a question?
Shoot, son.
Why'd you attack that man that was talking to Mom?
That's a good man. That's a good question. Not a good man. Apologies.
Well, if he was a good man,
he
why
wasn't
didn't you attack?
It's a good question. And you got a good look at that man, right? He called himself Jerry, but that wasn't his real name.
I didn't really talk to him much, Pa.
That man he means our family harm. And as long as I'm around, I ain't gonna let that happen. But if you ever see that man again, I need you to go find your uncle.
Okay. But you aren't around that often, though. I mean, that's what Mama said, that you used to go away a lot.
Well, I gotta go where the work is. But Elijah's
What do you
here
mean?
and he's taking care of you like he needs to.
But you're my pa, Uncle Elijah, isn't it?
That's true. I am your pa. And I'm out here taking you around. But sometimes a man's got to go where the work is.
Oh. And he kind of like sits on that for a while, kind of quiet. Pa, can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
You say a man's got to go where the work is, but ain't you a pastor?
Well, son, that kind of proves my point. I am a pastor, and why do you think our church travels all the way it does? We go where the work is, where the lost souls are.
But why don't you go with us, though?
For the most part, I do, but occasionally some other work comes up that is especially suited for me. I'm not just a pastor. I've got experience being a Texas Ranger, of course, as you know. And that's a whole different set of skills that sometimes people need a man like me that's capable of tracking and detecting and things like that. And the money I make for that helps keep this church running.
You see, he gets quiet again. He's just kind of nodding, sitting with it. After a little
It's a
while,
hard
he
truth,
said,
son, that a man doesn't always get to be where he wants to be.
Okay, Paul. Paul? Can I ask another
Yes, son.
question?
I suppose so.
You ever killed a man?
I've had to kill a few bad men, yes.
But I thought killing was bad. That's what Mama says. That's what Uncle Eli says. That's what you say in your sermons.
Murder is wrong 100%. Commandments tell us thou shalt not kill. However, sometimes there are bad men who do wrong, and the law tells us, like in the Old Testament, that you need to be punished for your sins. Sometimes that punishment is death. I'm not killing anyone. I'm just giving them their God-given punishment.
Okay. I think I understand.
It's good, lad.
So, that bad fella that was talking to Mama, are you gonna kill him too?
If he does something that deserves God's wrath, I'll deliver it to him.
Okay. So it's okay to kill when God's telling us to. I understand.
If God commands it, you follow.
Yes, sir. And so we fade out of that little scene. Do you have anything else that you do with your family?
It would be mostly things like that where he's with Obi, but then he would be doing like the honey-do list, all the chores that he
Sure.
wasn't able to take care of, things like that, working on the truck and things like that, just making repairs here and there. Yeah.
And so, yeah, we see like a montage of you working on more than one truck too, because you got your whole congregation. So it's this and it's that. And you can tell folks have been trying here and there, but there's like a busted this, busted that. You got to go into town, get some parts. Maybe you bring the boy with you. Maybe you bring your brother, whatever it might be. And on one of your trips in town, you got to check out the telegram office, and pretty standard for your congregation to some of them send to different parts here and there. And you have a message waiting for you, Pastor Wood. And it's directed to you. It is care of, or I should say it is from the offices of Janet Winston Rogers.
I open it up and read it immediately.
And you see that the first line says, "Your services to me are not yet concluded. Stop." Then there's a date and there's a location. And it's, let's see, it is Friday, November 27th, Hotel Miskatonic.
How many days away would that be?
So
A handful.
you guys finished up in LA basically end of October. And so we're playing out like essentially with these little home vignettes over basically the span of about 3 to 4 weeks. So I'll say that maybe it's a couple days away. It's the day after Thanksgiving.
So immediately after that, he would leave the telegram office, head back to the congregation, and seclude himself in work in a spare room of wherever he's staying or a tent somewhere, and just start writing as many notes as possible. And I don't think he would raise too many eyebrows at this, because this is the kind of like work he would do when he was preparing for a sermon.
Gotcha.
But in this case, he would be writing down every single detail he knows about Jack Pisner and all of the things that he went through in LA with Jack, related to Jack, everything he knows. And then when he finishes this write-up, this dossier, he would put it in an envelope, not seal it, and then write Elijah on the envelope.
Okay.
And then specifically seek out his brother that evening to tell him verbally everything that's written down as well.
Okay. Go ahead and give me like a. I'm just kind of. You went through some trauma and some problems in LA.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious in terms of the accuracy of the information you're giving him. So go ahead and give me like a. I mean, I'll basically like an int time, basically like an int roll. Just give me an int roll. I think that's fine.
Okay. So I'm looking for an 80 here. That is a 39, so just under half. So a hard success.
Hard success. Okay. And so if you wanted to, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could spend luck to make it an extreme success. And there might be benefits to that.
What are the odds of me almost dying this session?
It's a long way back to Arkham from Virginia.
A long way back. So 39, I would need to spend 23 to get it down to a 16.
Okay.
I've got 38. Fuck it, I'll spend it. Yeah.
All right. Extreme success.
You baited me.
I did. That's what I do, even when it might not even have an impact. Who knows? So you have this meeting with Elijah, and he just says, Jeff, you planning on leaving again? I don't know why you're telling me all this when you can handle it yourself if you stay around.
I would love to handle this myself, and in fact, I do plan on handling this myself, but I think it's just more fitting if you have the details as well. Two sets of eyes are better than one. But to answer your question that I'm dancing around, yes, I'm leaving again. Tomorrow, in fact.
Got an idea how long you're going to be gone this time?
Unfortunately, I do not. But I trust you to keep things in hand. You did well last time. There's no reason why you don't even need me around here anymore. I hear that you've been firing up souls left and right.
Well, I appreciate that, Zeph. I do appreciate your confidence in me, and I don't disagree that I think I found a knack for the occupation. But it ain't me that I am worried about when it comes to your absence. You got a fine young boy, you got a fine wife, and both of them kind of need some of that attention. I don't mean to overstep, but need to be said.
It's been heard.
Fair enough. So, fade out of that. And as we close down on Pastor Wood, do you tell your family you're leaving? Or do you just...
Yeah, I would say goodbye. I want to do an Irish goodbye.
Okay. So do you do like a Thanksgiving dinner and then like leave that night?
I'm a dad, so it would be like I leave at 4 a.m.
Okay. Okay. All right.
But yeah, it would be like a family dinner at night, and I would tell everyone I've got to go and all that.
Okay. And it is not received particularly well. You can tell your son Obi holds back some tears. You can tell he's doing that classic traditional can't show weakness kind of deal, and you can see he's kind of biting his lip and clutching his hands, and he puts his hand out and gives you a handshake, and you can tell that he's like pretty sad. Carmela, as you might expect, she understands. She knows who she married. She knows what your previous occupations were, so this is something that she's familiar with. So you don't, I would say, like with your with your instinct, you probably get the sense that she's a little upset with you, that you're leaving so quickly right around the holidays too. But,
yeah, and it does make sense because I specifically changed occupation, so I wouldn't have to do this type of thing.
Exactly.
But you go where the work is.
But you can tell Carmela, she knows, and she probably knows you know too. I think it's probably that kind of thing where she just kind of gives you a look, and she says, well, you got to go where the work is now, don't you?
Got to go where the work is. It's just becoming like my family's mantra.
Yeah. So there are a couple tender goodbyes, and then you start heading back up to Arkham. we're going to touch base with Beverly next. Beverly, what do you do? The last we saw of you, you had missing time. So you basically had a whole day, just was like, what the hell? How did I get here? Shima helped you. Your colleague helped you. You don't have to necessarily pick up in the immediate aftermath of that, but in the time between when we last saw her and now, what is Beverly doing with her time home?
So it doesn't pick up immediately after that, but she definitely, when she does return, there's this whole ritual of her like really locking up her study room. Like she takes Trammell's testament and she preserves it as much as is necessary, like whatever the proper procedures for that is. And then it gets put in a lockbox, which gets put into a large chest, which gets put, in the closet, kind of this whole ordeal. And then her closet, and then her office gets locked. And then she takes some time where she actually avoids her own personal study. She resumes work as normal, and then the weekend hits, and it's Friday evening, and she has a caller. Mr. Ed Exley was able to take some time off.
Oh, did he now? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that's how she kind of spends some time, is with Ed Exley.
Okay. We'll say, yeah, time off for the holidays, fall break of some kind.
Yeah.
I don't know if UCLA was on quarters back then or not. I know they are now, I think. So we'll say, yeah, there's some time where he comes out. Sure. Absolutely.
And she makes a point of spending as much time with him as they can, because she does feel guilty for just bailing on him.
Okay.
So
do you wine
dinner
and dine?
dates.
Okay.
Yeah. So they do cute dinner dates. Go out see some movies, and then maybe do like a little staycation at a hotel or something.
There's Hotel Miskatonic, of course.
Exactly.
There's others though. Okay. So I want to do a couple things with you, Bev. Give me a listen test first.
Got it. Okay. That's not a weird test to have.
What?
At all.
It's just a base sense. What are you talking about? Pretty standard.
It's how good you gossip.
69. Nice, but it's a fail.
Nice. Do you want to spend 49 percentage points to pass that? Or 49 luck points?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to hear this.
But it's such a weird test. You have to.
So you take all your things. You take the testament. You take the various books that you got. You lock them up. Maybe you have like an armoire or something like that in your office that you can kind of put an actual like key. You have that old fashioned kind of key. Clock it. Well, probably only one copy of the key. Leave your office. Lock that up. Say goodnight to the department secretary. A couple folks who are there towards the end of the day. We'll say maybe we're at that stage where Miskatonic University is closing down for maybe a couple of weeks for the holidays. And so everyone's kind of getting ready to go off, and they're asking you about various things. And people are checking in on you, like, are you okay? You okay with this? Everything all right here? And you get through just fine. No issues to worry about. You go out with Ed Exley. He's like, pick him up maybe you pick him up, or maybe he meets you, and he's like, oh darling, you look just so fine, just so the fall weather just suits your complexion perfectly. And as he comes and kind of sweeps you around, and as you guys are going out on these various little mini dates, you check a couple films, totally possible. Mm-hmm. And you notice that there is a marquee on this beautiful theater, kind of uptown Miskatonic, uptown Arkham. And you notice a very familiar name on the marquee. Do you want to guess what that name is?
What is it, Olivia?
You see Olivia Clarendon. Do you want to go see the film?
Nice pull.
Yes.
So you go inside. Two of you sit down, and it is a scattered theater, meaning there's not that many people there. It's not packed to the brim. as you're watching, you like the flickering of the projector, lights kind of on the screen. You see the familiar face of Olivia Clarendon. She sweeps on out in all her glory, and you hear like Ed to the next to you. Oh, Olivia, look, she's just a delightful woman. Absolutely, wasn't she delightful? And can you roll a spot hidden for me, Bev?
Oh, fuck. I was not prepared for this. That's a 78, 45.
Okay. And it is a lovely
I'd have to
film.
spend 33 to pass.
You would.
It's entirely up
you
to you.
could.
It could just be a lovely date night. It's totally fine.
No, I spent it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're sitting there, you're watching, and you start to notice something just a little out of the ordinary. Because the movie itself was called The Pace That Kills. It's just sort of it's kind of like a Western in a way. And you see she's playing kind of a sort of a saloon gal, right? And she's dressed up in this sort of vaudevillian, amazingly complex getup, and you can see there's cowboys coming and going, and it is a silent film. But as you're watching, multiple times you start hearing something underneath the music, because otherwise it's just music. It's like dun, 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 dun. It's like this like vaudevillian piano. But then you occasionally hear like the sounds of voices, and you just hear this weird kind of chanting. It's so subtle. It's so quiet. What do you do, Bev? Ed looks brilliant and does not notice it at all.
I think she would try and see if she can understand what it's saying. Like,
okay.
she'd kind of look like she'd make it look like she's paying attention to the film so Ed doesn't get concerned, but she's really just trying to focus on listening more so than watching the film at this point.
Okay. Roll languages.
Okay, so it's definitely not Latin.
It's not. I would say just roll a languages test. So
I don't have like a regular.
Basically,
language.
just roll a D100 and let me know what you roll. Basically, just put it that way.
Okay.
It's more of a luck test, I suppose. I should just.
Oh God, 88.
Okay. You hear, as you're listening very carefully. Maybe you start to kind of lean forward a little bit, and like you can feel the sort of the gentle hand of Ed, like on your back as he just kind of places there. Maybe he had his arm around you, but as you lean forward, it drops down. And he's, and there's nothing sort of like lewd or terrible about it. But as you're listening and you're trying to sort of understand what it's trying to say, it stops. Dun, dun, dun. It stops kind of talking like that. Instead, you hear a voice, and it starts to make sense to you as you're watching, and you hear, "It is here that my chapter begins. The name of Samson Trammell will echo down the ages. This my testament." And as you're watching, you notice that there's a piano player in the back of one of the scenes where like Olivia Clarendon's, she's got her arm up on top of the piano and she's kind of flirting, it looks like, with one of these customers here and there. And between them, there is a piano player, and their head is like staring directly at the camera where everyone else is not doing that. And you see his mouth is moving in perfect concert with the words that you are now hearing in your ears. Go ahead and roll San.
Yeah, okay. Oh, 86.
Okay. Go ahead and get a little
You
die
can
for
roll
me.
numbers that are like below
points.
the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You can. It's a thing that dice can do.
2 points of sand loss there. And Bev, as that happens, as you suddenly hear the words, recognize the words too, because you read these words.
Yeah.
And then you see a face staring at you. You maybe you recoil a bit, but you also notice that face, you're pretty sure you saw that face in the basement of Trammell's mansion. How does Bev react? As like, again, Ed's got his hand on your back. He's just kind of laughing along, and you just go, "Oh, Liv, you darling, you beautiful woman, you." And he's just like kind of talking to the theater screen, because that's what he does, because he's so delightful. He can get away with it.
He is a delight.
He can get away with it. I think she'd kind of jolt in shock, right? When she realizes that this is happening.
Darling, you all right over there? That shrimp cocktail not sit well with you?
No, it's fine. I'm just a little cold. And she'll again kind of like pull his arm over her shoulder and then like cuddle up to him closer. But like she's clearly on edge and she's just staring.
And as you continue to stare, it's flashing back and forth and showing the dialogue. And the dialogue between is like, it's just super generic. Like it's just, they're hitting on her basically is what's happening. And she's rebuffing them in a very elegant manner and just kind of gently rebuffing. And one of them comes back and you see that the mouth that you're looking at now of the man that's playing piano now looks just like one of the mouths, those small mouths that were popping up in various places inside Trammell's mansion. And you see it's just dripping and dripping and dripping. And the whole while it's like, oh goodness, she did not just say that. Oh my goodness. Yo, that man is not good for you. Not good. You just turned him right around right now. And it's clear that Ed in no way, shape, or form sees anything that you're seeing.
I think at that point, she'd kind of close her eyes and then be like, maybe I'm just gonna get a drink. I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to concessions.
Okay. Run to concessions, get some sort of refreshment. Genuinely no idea what they were serving as refreshment in 1936. But
get a water or something, yeah.
Get a box of Whoppers. Those are probably
a shot of vodka. I don't know what I need. But she won't immediately return. She will go to like the powder room, the bathroom, and she'll kind of stand there at the sink, and then she'll like put cool water on her face and just kind of focus on her breathing, and they'll be like, okay, weird.
You hear a sound from inside the bathroom, and it just sounds almost like just sort of like a winding, like
where does it sound like it's coming from? Because Bev is on edge.
You look behind you and you can see that there's like a toilet paper kind of roll deal or something like that, or like something sort of like just unspooling this sort of parchment onto the ground, this paper onto the ground. You just, and it's just sort of flopping onto the ground. And you see on the ground behind you, there is just this big wad of folded up, rolled over bits of bathroom paper.
She'll go up and snatch it off the ground and throw it in the trash.
Okay. When you pick it up and you throw it in the trash, you do notice that it's not plain. There's writing all throughout it.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, she's gonna look at it.
And as you start reading it, you recognize the words again, and it kind of continues. You can see that it's, hang on. It says, he came to me, his wet mouth slippery with the truth as it spilled forth, trickling on me and in me. His was a vaulted pass stretching to the sands of ancient Egypt. He was a tall man, clad in black. His face always seemed in shadow. And you recognize this again as being from Trammell's Testament.
She will, instead of leaving it in the trash, she'll like stuff it at the bottom of her clutch.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll return to the theater and I,
You step out of the bathroom and you see standing 3-4 feet in front of you, there's a tall man clad in black. You can see his back is to you. He's staring out towards the sort of the main entry area in the concession stand. As you come out, they start to turn. And you see the face of Ed X. Oh, darling, are you all right? The concession stand says you seem to be a little bit sick, a little bit. I told you shouldn't have ate that shrimp. This isn't shrimp season, darling.
yeah.
I mean,
can
wanna-
we go home?
Oh, of course, darling. Of course. Come on now. And he comes over and he puts his arm around you, this long black coat sleeve over top of yours, and he escorts
And
you out of there.
she shivers like involuntarily and plays it off like she's cold, but she's
Oh,
actually
darling.
just so stressed about it.
And so he escorts you home, and we'll fade out of there. We're gonna go over to Patrick Price. What's Patrick Price doing? Last we saw Patrick Price, he was just doing his barbershop routine. What is he doing now?
Yeah, it seems like the holidays are coming up, so
Mhm.
the last one in the shop closing up for the holidays. Waiting for Anna to come over, and we're gonna
Okay.
drive down to Connecticut to visit her family.
Okay, so we'll say Anna shows up. You want to tell us what Anna looks like again? It's been a while. We saw her in the very beginning.
Short, brown bobbed hair,
Mm-hmm.
slender, tall girl.
Has it got kind of like a flapper cut sort of deal, or is it just a bob? Okay. All right. So she comes in. I want her to say bonjour, but I'm not going to. So she comes in, and you can see she's dressed warm as it is turning cold outside. And she says, "You about ready, Patrick? We ready to go?"
Yeah, just closing up shop.
Oh,
Well packed.
wonderful. Mother and father are going to be so happy to see us. They've been looking forward to this so much.
Yeah, it's nice to pay them a visit.
Oh, it's going to be, just think, this time next year when we visit them, we're going to be husband and wife. And she's like comes over and she's all very excited to see you.
Well, let's get going then.
Okay, so you lock up the shop, get in the car, and you start driving down to Connecticut. The drive down, it's not so bad. Like you're in the well, actually, yeah, you were driving down. So we're like Arkham, which is like Massachusetts. It's kind of got to go through like New York a bit, over past Long Island to south. Okay, so it's not that long. Like you can do it. It's no big deal. It's not the type of traffic we see these days, but it's a decent drive, and it's just the two of you the whole time.
Yeah, just the two of us.
Okay. And so she says to you, Patrick, I've been meaning to ask you about something.
Of course, ask me anything.
I had a phone message from a Dr. Mulig that was asking about you. Do you know someone by that name?
Why, yes, I've been seeing him for a bit. What did he ask of you?
Patrick, are you sick? You have to tell me these things. I'm your fiance. I'm going to be your wife. If you're sick, you have to tell me.
Am I sick? I seem perfectly fine, don't I?
Well, if I'm being honest, you haven't been yourself since you returned from your trip.
Well, that's certainly something.
You kind of, every now and then when I'm quiet, if I'm not talking, your eyes just kind of drift off, and you kind of get this vacant look in your face, like you're lost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the doctors told me about it. Something we're learning more about.
What I don't understand is, if something happened to you, why can't you tell the doctor about it, but you can't tell me?
Well, I'm not sure if you want to hear about it. It's
Patrick, if it concerns you, I love you. I want to know what it is. I'm here. Tell me. And she like kind of puts a hand like on your arm as you're driving. Tell me.
tell her vaguely about like nightmares ish.
Okay.
I won't go too much into detail.
Okay. So are you talking? So do you talk like about the mouths? Do you talk about like give me some slightly more detail on what you're saying?
More probably towards the nightmares I've had about. I think the mouths were involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mouths. Okay.
Yeah, these mouths I'm seeing all over the place. I think it
Like-
just happened after I got bit when I was visiting Georgia.
You got bit? What did you get bit by?
Well, a patient there can believe it.
You got bit by a patient? What do you why did a patient bite you? And why am I just hearing about this now?
We aren't mentally stable, so you decided to bite me. That's all I know.
Oh. And now you're having dreams about mouths biting you now because a mentally unstable patient bit you? Well, that just sounds terrible. It does. And is this Dr. Mulick helping you?
Yeah, he's stuck with the mind. He's getting into mind somehow. Maybe he'll tell me something.
Okay. Well, if you say so, if that's what you think is best. Now, all right then. Well, thank you for telling me. And she's, you can tell she's processing it a bit, trying to understand. But eventually, she'll kind of like lean into you, put her head on your shoulder, and she'll put a little music on. And so I'm going to say that there's music playing, and you could barely hear it because of the rumbling of the motor. And as it comes on, Patrick, the song that you sang while on the Mafia ship, and the song that you danced to with Olivia Clarendon suddenly come on. And specifically the second one, you hear Anna say, "Oh, I love this song. We should, you know what?" She kind of leans up. "We should make this our song, shouldn't we? We should next year when we're getting married and we're dancing in front of all of our friends and our family. This is the one that we should dance to first. What do you think?"
And she's talking about the song I sang.
The song that you and Olivia Clarendon danced to, because it was like two in a row. First, it was just like the song that you sang, and then the second song comes up, and it's the one that you and Clarendon were like kind of weaving around to.
Well, that'll be easy because I sang this one, if you can believe it.
You don't sing. Don't be ridiculous.
I'll give you a live performance right now.
Okay, give me a test. give me that singing test. Let's see how you do.
Oh, this is so great.
So last time it was a 5 that I had to roll. So let's go again.
So, well, you succeeded last time on it, remember? So
Yeah.
Technically, you should have gotten a success. You should have been able to roll for it. You should have actually improved that skill.
Okay, I might have forgotten to do that.
That's okay. That's okay.
And we
roll
also
a
have
D100.
bits
Yeah.
to
Roll
take
your-
it at plus 10 or plus 20.
Roll a D100. We'll see how close you get, and then we'll worry about it then if it's pretty close.
Oh, what?
99
Absolutely
critical
off
fail.
key. Don't even remember the words.
And she physically recoils from you. Ah,
She got the ick.
darling, I don't know who told you can sing, but I've heard dying cats sound more appealing. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I just feel like I have to be honest with you since we're going to spend our lives together. Please don't ever do that again. And she puts like a hand on.
Oh, you're right. I'll get that Win character.
Oh,
That singer that you
Well,
always enjoy.
maybe just and she's like still like recoiling from it, how bad it was, and she's like wringing her ear out. She's like, "Oh goodness me." And we'll say the kind of song continues to play, and we see Patrick and Anna kind of pull up into this Connecticut home. We see this kind of process for this Thanksgiving meal. Everything seems to go relatively smoothly for you, Patrick, though no one asks you to sing. Though at one point you can hear like Anna like laughing with her father. He told me he could sing. He tried to sing in the car. I thought the windows were going to crack. And he just chuckles. Oh, and he's going to be my son-in-law. And he's just kind of shaking his head. But it's all kind of good-natured ribbing. Okay. We're going to shift then to Shaima. Shaima, what have you been doing in your time, your remaining time in Arkham?
There's a couple of things she has the intention of doing. In one of the earliest days back, because she knows she has to get all her facial bruising to lower a little bit before she goes to see her parents. She's gonna go see her coach, Coach Schrager, and excitedly tell him that she got to meet the Viper, who he exchanges notes with sometimes, and that kind of thing. So she's gonna talk to him about that. Eventually, she's like in a day or two after things have pretty much settled down on her face, except I think for a black eye. She goes and sees her parents. And at some point, she's gonna go see her friend Chris. But
We can get
throughout
that
all
later,
of this, it's throughout all of this, it's working on that paper she's been worried about, and trying to figure out like how she needs to work around the scholarship she has, and if her being away has impacted it, and really trying to focus on the academic part of her life right now, because she takes that very seriously.
Okay, so we could do these like kind of one at a time. Is there anyone you want to play out? Like, is there any scene that you particularly want to play out?
Not really. I'm happy to make rolls for pretty much all of them. Like I don't like they feel like just like logistical operational
Sure.
things.
Okay, so we could say that we'll do these one at a time. I don't think there's really any major role necessary with Coach Schrager, but like when you bring up the Viper and he's like, the old Viper, huh? Oh, he's wicked smart. He's wicked smart. And he's so strong. And he's like, you could just see the Boston just comes out way better than I can do it. And he's just like, oh yeah, I remember when he was out here. Oh goodness me, he could just oh god. And so he's like starts telling you all these stories about him and Ed, and like some of the wrestling stories, some injuries they took. Then he starts venturing into like these stories about him, the two of them like hitting the town. Like the two of us, we hit the town. We had all this speak. Oh, never mind. That one's a bit inappropriate. As he kind of like reveals, as he realizes, oh, he probably shouldn't have said that. But ultimately, I think your conversation with him goes fine. The scholarship that you probably have to concern yourself with is less with him and more probably with your your librarian studies. So I sent you. Do you remember the name I gave you?
Yes, I have it written down. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do have it written down. Give me 2 minutes so I can find it.
Both of us scramble through our notes for our...
It's a race. Who can search the fastest?
We had a whole conversation about
We had like a whole conversation. I know.
About the pronunciation.
I was going to say that.
Simon Forn?
No, that's not right. Not the head librarian. No. Oh, Cyrus. Okay, I got it. All right. Cyrus. So when you start asking about your scholarship, your coach tells you, "Oh no, we want you here, Shaima. You're great. You're wicked awesome. You're wicked awesome. We want you here, but apparently there's been some trouble with your academic side of things. That your librarian department. They said that that you missed some important dates or something, and I gotta tell you, I know you're very concerned with that, but we technically can't let you compete if your academics aren't meeting the proper threshold. So you might want to go speak with your department head to make sure you're on proper track." That's
what I was worried about, Coach. Thank you. Yeah, I'll go do that right now. I just wanted to say hello before I did.
Oh, sure. And I'm so happy to see you. I hope you had a good trip and everything. You know, your mother called. She was looking for you.
My mother called.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I covered for you. I said you're out running laps or something, you know. Yeah.
Oh, God, you're the best.
Yeah, she was very concerned about you. What did you tell her that you were doing?
Studying.
Studying, right. Sure, okay. You might need one more elaborate next time. You play hooky, you know. You don't seem like the type of person who plays a lot of hooky.
Work. I was. It was just field work. It was just
You don't need to convince me. You don't need to convince me. I'm not the one.
And she looks down like very sheepishly. Okay. Sorry, Coach. Sorry you had to do that. Coach.
Oh, no. It's probably, I've done way worse. I mean, when Ed was here this one time, about 5 years, I did way... Oh, never mind. I probably shouldn't tell you about that one either. Okay, anyhow, go see her.
Call him Ed.
Well, I call Eddie, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, old friends. Yeah. You know. Anyhow, he was far more talented than me. And he got a much better mug than I do. I look like a catcher's mitt. Makes sense that he's out in that pretty Los Angeles. That makes a lot of sense. So if you head over to your department, if you actually head over to the Orrin Library on campus, and again, just like with Bev, it's sort of the holiday season, or we're veering on the holiday season, so there's like some time off, we'll say, and you can see there's not nearly as big a crowd as there usually is within the Orrin Library, and there's like the main collection area. There's some special collections and such, but then there's also offices. There's like faculty offices, people who are actually librarian sciences, librarian studies, that sort of thing. And you are lucky enough, we'll say, to be able to get the attention of one of the department secretaries who can get you as a last second meeting. The head of the librarian department, or head of the library studies department, Cyrus Lanfer. And when you walk into his office, and he's only been the head librarian for about a year or so, there was kind of a long time librarian by the name of Dr. Armitage, like kind of just a classic name, right? Like he's been here and part of the university for so long. But he eventually retired just about a year and a half ago, and Lanford took over. And when you go into his office, you see his office is one that's filled with not just books, but these artifacts, effectively. You can see them in various cases. You can see like these very gentle scrolls that are like propped up on what looks like a very well-crafted like pedestal or dais within this glass collection. You can see that on one wall, there's like a series of like old tomes that are not part of the library's collection, but just seems to be his like personal connection. And you can see that he is standing behind his office and he's packing up what looks like a briefcase of some kind. And there is a window behind him, and you can see it's a kind of a gray day, not quite snow time yet, but you can see there's probably a storm coming. He's a man in his probably early 50s or so. You can see he's got a darker complexion. From maybe what you've heard that his father, African American, mother was white, Caucasian, and he was kind of taken under Armitage's wing for a little while, and he's kind of taken over, and he's still new. But when he sees you come in, he looks up at you. Oh, it's Miss Oberon, is it?
That's right, Mr. Lanfer.
Dr. Lanfer, please.
Dr. Lanfer, I'm sorry. I of course know you by reputation, sir. Thank you for the time today.
And I know you by reputation, Miss Oberon.
She looks at him kind of confused because
I hear you are quite the athletic woman. Is that not correct? My informants told me falsehoods.
She kind of rubs the back of her neck, sort of uncomfortably. It's like, no, I'm on the
Your
Mistronic,
academics, however, as he tends to not let you finish sentences. Your academics, however, I've heard have taken a bit of a turn recently.
Yes, sir. I was doing some unexpected fieldwork for this paper I've been working on, and
Yes, I saw the paperwork from Dr. Key.
I can show you the paper.
Customarily, the department head needs to approve it first. And as you are not a student within the anthropology department, Dr. Key's approval is not paramount. Mine is. And I did not offer approval. Yet you left anyway.
I'm sorry, sir. It was an honest mistake. I did not know I needed your approval beyond Dr. Key's. Otherwise, I would have sought it. You can ask Coach Traeger. I don't.
Oh, Coach Schrager. I would, but I think he's afraid of this place. I think books scare that man. As well they should.
She looks around and takes in the artifacts in the room, as well as like a general glancing of his personal collection, because the Shaman's Curiosity Drive has made the occult section of the library like the most interesting to her. Doctor, now that I know that it is your approval, I hope that that's what I can get from you. The paper that I'm working on, as well as the fieldwork that I did, was actually related to cult activity on the West Coast and partially here as well, but that sort of stemmed from here. And it was beyond
activity.
What was in the library.
I see.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is it within the academic field of a librarian? And it is on your academic track to do field work chasing down cult theories, Miss Oberon?
I believe it is, sir, if we can expand the knowledge that exists for these areas.
Well, I have some time. And he pulls out like a pocket watch, tucks it back in. Tell me what you learned.
She grabs this folio that she has brought with her and shows him the paper and like some of the research that she's been working on and images of the stone, and just sort of without a breath kind of launches into more or less everything they found, including the distribution of nectar. There is
you just divulge basically everything other than Johnny, probably.
Not about the
not about your time at a drug flop house on a mafia ship gambling.
No. But she does talk about the supernatural elements in the drug use and the mental health impacts with the health impacts and the mental health impacts with the asylum, and so very approaching this from quite a technical standpoint.
Do you tell him about the Library of Tomes that you collected from UCLA? And from
I will say is that I did come across several published or manuscripts at the very least, but I have not had a chance to actually go through them myself. So I do not know if they bear any relevance or anything, but I do have them, and I fully intend on going through them when I have some more ability to do that.
He leans back a little bit, he pulls out a pipe, strikes a match, takes a few tokes of it, and then well, as I see it, the chief task of a librarian is to maintain, grow, and care for their collections. Now, if you're telling me that in your time away from Miskatonic, you have found potential resources to grow our exemplary collection, well then, perhaps I can sign a paper declaring that your work was indeed directed towards your primary academic field. Is that what you're telling me, Miss Oberon?
It is, sir. And her eyes go wide, and she takes his hand in both of hers and gives us aggressive, very enthusiastic handshake. Yes, sir, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly it.
It hurts very badly. Please stop. Now, comport yourself, Miss Oberon.
Sorry, sir. I'm just. I
look forward to seeing.
Excited to be able to speak with you about this.
I look forward to seeing your additions to the collection. You can see my secretary when you are ready to add them to our yield. Yes?
Yes, sir.
And then he very dramatically slams his briefcase shut. Well, it looks like we are out of time then. Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you for the appointment.
Goodbye.
She will leave.
Okay.
and then forget her paper for a second, and then
Come
turn
run
around
back
and get
in
him.
and get stuff. He's like, what? Oh.
Sorry, sir.
He's drinking. He's taking a. Okay. All right. We good there? We good with
Yes.
Okay. And then we say you have a meeting with your parents in which you are. We don't necessarily play it all out if you don't want, but we could say that you are greeted and grilled about your whereabouts incessantly for several hours before, during, and after maybe a lovely dinner that you have with your parents. Is that fair?
Yes, thankfully there's enough to share about Dr. Lanford that she's able to kind of pivot the conversation.
Love it.
Bypass the guilt, the parent guilt.
Okay. So then, last but not least, we'll go to Marie. Marie, what have you been doing ever since your meeting with Janet?
So Marie is kind of, since things are gearing up towards kind of the holiday season, she is going to kind of appreciate some quiet time in sort of the Main Street area. So I'm imagining it's kind of starting to get into that sort of holiday decoration kind of a thing. So she's going to want to at some point try to get into there's a music store and just kind of poke around a little bit. So she's enjoying sort of the holiday scenery. She will pen a few letters back to kind of Chicago area to her two older brothers and their wives, and to her parents. And so, she'll kind of pen these very kind of poetic letters about, sort of the fall air and, Arkham and, missing the, winds off the lake and all of that in Chicago and, mail off some nice correspondence back to family in Chicago.
Okay. Does this correspondence include anything in reference to your experiences over the past couple of weeks?
No. Well, I mean, I would say that she does keep them, kind of abreast of her travels because she does sort of go here and there. And so it'll be a little laundry list of, so I think since my last letter, I've, made it down to Georgia and made it out to California. And she makes it sound as if she's doing this for paid gigs. So she definitely makes it seem as if she's a little more successful. Like she doesn't actually have a lot of money, but she definitely tries to seem as if the singing thing is actually paying off because, of course, that's not the vibe from the family that this is how a woman should go about her life.
Can you give me a psychology roll then to see if you're able to convey that thought in a way that seems convincing?
I can. 45 under 69.
You don't know what the difficulty was. Could have needed a hard. You don't know.
Sorry. I succeeded at the roll.
No, you're fine. Just missing. Okay. All right. So yeah, those get sent off without any issue. You feel pretty confident. You have 2 older brothers, right? Have you ever told us their names?
No, because I just wrote them down like 10 minutes ago. So I certainly did not said them out loud before.
Okay. So who are they? Give some names.
So her parents are Alfred and Mabel Wynn. And then oldest is Samuel and Lillian Wynn and Ernest and Ethel Wynn. Marie is the baby.
So Ernest and Ethel? Okay. Okay. And you said Marie is the baby?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right? Okay. All right. Good to know. Glad I have those for later. All right.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else that Marie would have done in this time?
So, as she's, kind of doing kind of this window browsing, there is a, I believe it's Manelli's music store that's on Main Street. And so she wants to poke in, we've got this address in Mexico City, and she just kind of wants to see if there's, kind of any other records that might be kind of from Mexico City area, just kind of just doing a little bit of just sort of information about sort of the music scene in Mexico City. And this is the music store that she's got access to.
Okay. Sure. We can totally do that. So what I would what I'll ask you to do. So you're asking specifically about the music scene. Are you asking at all about what you've gathered so far? Like the Luz Discos and this, there was this song. Okay. Okay, give me let's do a roll. I'll take singing, in fact, because it is music. So go ahead and roll singing on this, and the better you do on this, the more you might be able to get from this.
Okay, somebody help me with the math here. So I rolled a 46 under 86. So
you need to spend 3 to get a hard success.
I'll do that.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I will spend the 3 to get it to a hard success.
All right. So I'll give you a couple bits of information then. So if you ask about, if you're asking specifically about this, this company, obviously, like you'll get a reference to, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this exactly correctly. Okay, let's put it this way. So at some point, whoever it is that's in this merchant who's listening to it, they're also a musician themselves. And they're like, we don't get many folks around here who are interested in Latin music, but it's quite lovely if you think about it.
Yes. I just adore music from all over the world.
So the thing is that the name. Did you bring the record with you? I think you only had the sleeve, right?
That sounds right.
I think you only had the sleeves.
Yeah.
Okay. So you as you're kind of that, I think I actually have a copy of this one. One second.
You do.
Well, maybe I don't know. And he kind of starts going through, and he finds what looks like oh no, it doesn't seem to be the same. It's the same. Looks to be the same company. And so he pulls it over and he's like, oh yeah, they have. It looks like it's a much newer record. That one looks to be a little bit older, but and I tell you, what's curious, and he plays this song. And so as he plays the song, you again hear this familiar, like he kind of gets a record player going and whatever, and two of you are listening here and there. And it's definitely not the song that you heard when you were in the flop house. And it's definitely not the song that you heard when you were in the basement of Trammel. However, it's a little different. It's like this, it's more upbeat first of all, and it's kind of erratic. It has all these like little staccato movements throughout. I need you to roll a sand test as you're listening to this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so you just, it's like this weird, almost like erratic move to it. And then there's like, her voice comes in these like high pitches that go up quite high, and they kind of flourish and do these little trills, and then they like vanish for a second. And he's just kind of talking, and you can tell like he's kind of like nodding around to it. Yeah, it's called the Cuckoo Song. Oh, and then what did you roll?
73 over 58.
So you get this like sudden urge, this sudden like violent urge. So as you take 1 point of sand loss, just give me 1 point of sand loss. As you take 1 point of sand loss, what happens is you're overtaken by this urge to commit a sudden act of violence. But I will let you describe what that sudden act of violence is. So you're standing next to this guy, you're staring down at this record player as it spins around, has that same loose discos on it. This looks brand new, but it's a completely different song, same voice. And you just feel this urge to do something violent. What would Marie do?
I feel like she would just sort of grab the record that's sort of closest to her hand and just snap it.
Okay. Not this one, though. A different one?
Yeah.
Okay. Just grab. So maybe you just have a different one in hand. Maybe you were going to purchase something and you just snap it in hand. Like, what the? What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? You know how those things are wicked expensive.
Oh my goodness. I'm so very sorry. I don't know what overcame me. You know how you just hear a song sometimes and it takes you like a memory, and
sure, but those memories don't take me to snapping product, okay, and they don't take me to breaking other people's things.
Oh yes, so very sorry.
You're gonna pay for that, you know.
Of course, that is what would be most appropriate for me to do in this situation. And she's sort of fumbling in her bag, and she's, barely got two pennies to rub together, and she's might I offer a barter of sorts?
A barter? This is a storefront, darling. Like, what kind of barter are you talking about?
Oh, well, and so she'll... That's true.
Listen. It was a product. It was for sale. You broke it. You're paying for it. It's pretty simple. Okay? It's pretty simple.
Yes, of course.
All right.
Yes.
All right. That's it. That's just that's how the world functions. All right? I'm sorry. Anyhow, we'll settle up. It's okay. It's fine. The weird songs. They always make these kind of experimental things. This company here, they got a couple of them out, I guess. But yeah.
Well, yes, and
the
so
voice though, they call her this Luz. Then It sounds a lot like this other woman that used to sing. Oh, what was her name? Oh, something. Oh God, something Lopez. I think something. And he's like thinking. He's thinking Rosario, and then Rosario Maria Lopez. Beautiful voice. Couldn't understand the things she's saying because I don't speak Spanish, but you can feel it. Sometimes it's just the emotion that's coming out of it. And maybe the emotion coming out of this one got a little too close to your violent tendencies. Now, that'll be $3,000, please.
Oh,
I don't know how much records cost in 1936, but you're paying for it. Okay.
Yeah. So what she was hoping to try to do was to buy the record. So the one that's playing, she was hoping to purchase. And then now she's got to purchase the one that she broke too.
What's your pocket money for the day? What do you got?
My pocket money spending level is
$10. I think you can probably get both then. Yeah, you're okay.
Okay.
You're okay.
And so she's almost counting out her last penny, as it were. She's kind of.
Don't play that around friends or when you need a crystal, because apparently it drives you to break things.
I am so very, very sorry, and I do hope that you and yours have a lovely holiday. And she's very embarrassed.
Happy Christmas. All right. And so we'll say, as you leave and fade out of there, we see this montage of all of you getting a summons, basically. You're either getting a telegram, some of you are getting a note. Maybe, Patrick, you get back to the barbershop after your trip and you can see slid underneath the door or maybe through the mail slot of your barbershop, there is a note. You recognize it immediately as it's Janet. Like, you can tell it's Janet. Pastor, you already got yours. Beverly, at some point when you're still with Ed and Ed's maybe packing up, getting ready to go back or whatever it might be, you get sort of a message comes and everything, and Shima as well. And all of it, and when you open it up, you realize it's like an invitation. And it's an invitation to a dinner party. And it's the same day I gave Pastor Wood, which I think is the 27th of November. It's literally the day after Thanksgiving. And it's at the Hotel Miskatonic. And it says, dress appropriately. And we'll say it's like 6 p.m. or so. So, do you all attend? Does anyone skip?
Shaman definitely attends and is wearing that same white dress from the boat party because that's the only nice dress she has.
Okay, beautiful. Does anybody not attend? Anybody skip?
Pastor Wood would attend.
Okay. Does anybody not dress appropriately?
I would wear a coat.
So you would know that the Hotel Miskatonic is a upper class kind of venue. It deals with higher, more affluent clients. So people who stay there or the various dining rooms and lounges. Marie, you've already been there before. Shima, you might know of it a bit from one of your friends, but it is a higher end establishment. So
butter up into a tux or something.
Okay. We'll see.
Pastor Wood does not have a tux.
You just show up, dust-worn clothes, dusty.
He would be as presentable as possible. Like he does take pride in his appearance when he can. So like he would have clean clothing and everything, but it's definitely old, worn clothing that's maintained, but it's not high end. Okay.
So one by one, you all arrive at the Hotel Miskatonic. Marie, yours is probably the easiest. You go in. They probably some of the staff, the manager, etc., would know who you are. You show them your invitation. No issues whatsoever. You get kind of ushered up to the second floor where this private dining room is going to be. Beverly, you are an affluent woman. You have a lot of money. You have excellent clothing. Same deal. No issues whatsoever. Like you come in, they recognize you. They're very happy to have you here. Maybe they don't know you by your name, but they see your attire and the clothes make the woman, apparently. And so they usher you upstairs. Then we get to Patrick. Patrick, you come in. You're dressed pretty well. But at the same time, when you step in, you realize you're not quite as well. Like, you can definitely see a disconnect. Like Like this is like blue collar, white collar. It's just like middle class, and then there's upper class, and that's what you've kind of walked into. And so you see this beautiful kind of like marble laden like foyer and opening area. You see this almost like marble statues and carvings. Like there's no crown molding of wood. It's crown molding of like marble. Everything is just elaborate. It's just elaborate, extravagant. You hear the sounds of music kind of cascading from what looks like a small lounge when you first come in, and it looks like a bar. And then you can see that people are being directed here and there. And even when the servants come up to you, they're dressed like all of the men, and it's mostly men that seem to be working and kind of checking bags and things. They're all dressed in extremely fine attire. And you realize that the help is a touch nicer than you are. And so a snooty man comes up and is like, excuse me, are you sure you're in the right place?
Yes, it's my invitation to you.
Oh. Takes a look at it. Miss Winston Rogers called for you. And he kind of like licks his tongue and starts to rub it a bit to see it. Well, I see she must be scraping the bottom of the barrel. Well, if that is the case, come with me. Please wipe your feet. You look down. Yeah. And he's like leading you through. And you're getting like a few people looking at you every now and then. And you're not dressed poorly. You're dressed actually kind of nice. You've got like a nice coat and everything. And everyone's just sort of staring at you as you walk past. And eventually you're led up to the second floor and no issues. And you see maybe down at the end of the hall, there's Marie, there's Beverly, and things kind of work out well. Pastor, you have a very similar encounter. Like, excuse me, sir, but deliveries are in the back. Please go in the reverse entrance. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. I'll go to the back.
So you go to the back and you see there's like a group of people. They're like smoking and drinking, and there's like a garage style door for like food deliveries and things like that. And someone sees you coming up. You can see a guy, definitely a cook of some kind, has like a waist on. Like, can we help you? Buddy, are you in the wrong place?
Told to enter through this door. I was given an invitation to the party.
The party? We've got like a dozen parties going on right now.
I don't know which one. I don't come to these types of parties very often. I came in. I've got this card. They said to go around back and enter this way.
Are you like you work in are you working a party? You like a piano player or something, or what are you?
No, I can't carry a tune for the life of me.
Okay. Let me see your card.
I hand him the invitation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know this. Yeah, I guess I could take you. That's fine. 1 second. And he takes like this really long drag, throws it down to the ground. All right, come on this way. And he leads you in, and you're going through all of like the underground back areas, the servant stairs. None of it looks pretty. You don't see any beautiful marble staircases. You don't hear any sounds of extravagant stuff. And you go past a bathroom, you hear the sounds of kitchens and stuff like that. And
Pastor Wood is much more comfortable with this entrance.
Okay. And so the guy's like pumping you with questions, like, so what do you got going on with this lady? She's been staying here for a couple weeks now.
She asked me to track down some information about her father, just basic genealogy, ancestry types.
Oh, okay. You like some kind of detective, like a private investigator?
In a fashion, yes.
Oh, very cool. That's wicked awesome. All right, sure. Yeah, my whole family, we're from here. We're from around here, a little up north, a little up south, around there. That's great. Anyhow, you uncover any like skeletons or something, like did a grandfather?
I'm not a grave robber. No, she just asked for just basic information.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyhow, go through that door right there. Hang a right. Go down that hallway, and you'll see it. Yeah, but
hey, while I have you.
Yeah, what's that?
You wouldn't happen to have an extra coat I could borrow?
Well, I'm a chef, so...
No worries,
Not
no worries.
really.
I'll find one. And I want to like
You
walk
find
back
it.
a little bit towards like the bathroom or something and find like a
Okay.
servant's coat or something. He doesn't even care. Like, just like whoever
Okay.
took a coat off, he's gonna grab it and put it on.
All right, I'll tell you what. Give me your spot isn't so high that I don't think you would have an issue finding one. But let's see if you can grab one without someone seeing you and kind of shouting at you. So give me a sleight of hand test.
Sleight of hand, not stealth.
Sure, I'll take stealth. Stealth's okay.
Okay, stealth is a lot better for me.
Okay.
That is a shit. 91 over 79. That would be 12 luck. I'll spend it.
Okay.
From 32 luck down to
jacket.
3.
You
Oh man.
you go past like a servant's locker room kind of area, and you see there is someone literally, as you're looking around, just delivers some dry cleaning and puts it up on a hook, and you see that there's a handful of these jackets, these fine jackets that all of these like, you know, various bellhops and like the maitre d' and all that kind of stuff are wearing. And so you just look around, you just kind of snatch one, you put it on, and you get going.
A
Now,
little tight, but good enough.
yeah, and your pants are still kind of dusty, and your shoes.
I'm
don't
wearing
quite
brown
match.
pants and like a black jacket, but
But you have such a great jacket. Absolutely. And then finally, Shima, you arrive. You go to the front. Excuse me, ma'am. I believe you might be in the wrong place.
No, I thought so too, but the invitation says here.
Invitation.
I handed it to him.
He takes a look at it. Oh my.
I checked, it's real.
Oh, yes, you seem to be correct about that. Well, Miss Winston Rogers is one of our finest clients, so if she needs you, I suppose it must be important. Come with me.
Tugs at her dress.
So come with me, please. And he starts leading you like around and past and kind of going towards the stairs, and all of a sudden you hear like a crash of like plates and glasses, and you hear just like Shima, and you look over and you see, going from like the behind this bar lounge and going through this small little hallway as if they're going back to the kitchen, you see your friend Chris, who has just dropped like a big tub of like glasses and plates and is kind of staring at you.
Chris?
What,
I'm gonna say this, guy. I'm sorry, sir. Just one moment, and I'm gonna. Sherry doesn't walk places; she runs to Chris.
So you run over to Chris, and Chris is just like, he's, you know, covered in sweat, and he's been working and stuff, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing
Here,
here?
let me help you." And she bends down
don't do
to
that.
like try.
No, I got it. You stay
Chris,
right.
shut up.
No, you're gonna get me fired. You're gonna get me fired.
Oh, okay. She stands up.
Okay, say something rude to me or something, like I screwed something up.
No,
It's okay. It's fine.
No.
You don't understand. That's how it works here.
Okay, listen. Are we still on for later?
Yeah. No problem.
Okay, I'll see. I'll see you at the back.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And he kind of clumps up and he's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Francis. I'm very sorry. And he's like standing right behind you, this like tall maitre. Yeah, like he's like, I'm not sure if maitre d' is right now, but this tall, like very slender man. Looks like a mortician. As you turn around, he's like, "Are we about done here? I am a very busy man, and I have many clients to attend to, of far greater import than yourselves."
Yes, Mr. Francis.
Mm-hmm.
Sir.
This way, please. And like as you like lead back, you turn around and like you look at Chris.
Looks over
like,
at Chris and just kind of shrugs at him, just like.
And he gives you like the equivalent of like a jerk off motion towards the guy, whatever they would do in the 1936. He's just like, something like that towards the guy. And so you see Mr. Francis turn back around for a second. And, oh shit! And he kind of goes back to
has
picking
a
up.
full like loft that just.
So you get led up into the same area, and one by one, all of you are brought systematically through this like little hallway, and then you come to the end of the hallway. You see these double sets of beautiful doors. You can see all these kind of like brass fittings on everything. Like everything's brand new. The carpet is just beautiful and lush. It's got this sort of newish Art Deco vibe kind of going on to it. And you can see that these two very large men, like Johnny Stompanato large, that are standing right in front of the door. And one of them puts their hand up. We'll say the first one in is, we'll say it's Marie. 1 second, ma'am. We're going to need to pat you down.
Oh my, how unexpected.
We'll be respectful. I apologize ahead of time, but it's just security purposes. If that's all right.
Oh, okay. Yes. Carry on.
Could you give my associate your bag, please? He's going to take a peek into it.
Yes. And like, yep.
Okay. And so they kind of go through. Are you carrying any kind of weapons or anything on you?
Yes. She has
Pulls a bazooka out. Fire axe.
No.
Like one of my favorite tropes.
It's like
She has a
turns into
small
a
knife.
Naked Gun movie. Oh, goodness. Okay.
So she just has a small knife in the bag, not the like a firearm.
And so just the knife?
Yeah.
Okay, so he takes the knife out. So he says, we're gonna have to you can get this on your way out.
Oh yes, of course. I can't imagine that I would need that here, and I hope I wouldn't need it outside either. But these days you just never can quite tell.
Yes, you never can quite tell. I understand. Okay, well, thank you, Miss Wynn. And I kind of takes your invitation, and he pushes the door open. And when he does, you see there's this beautiful long dining room table, and there's a beautiful crystalier, this like arcing, like vaulted ceiling high above. There's artwork hanging from each of the walls, and you can see everything has been decked out and like this beautiful fashion, and you get let inside. I'll say, Beverly, you come up next. Same deal. They're like, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am, we're going to need to pat you down. If you could give my associate your bag, we
Please
promise
be gentle
we'll be
with my
discreet.
books.
Of course. Do you bring the books with you?
No, but she kind of like prepared some notes that she was
Okay.
going to present to Janet.
Okay, fair enough. Do you bring any weapons or anything like that?
She left it at home. Yeah.
You get in without a problem then. No problem whatsoever. Patrick, you're next up. Excuse me, sir, if you could step over to the side here, please.
Even
We're gonna have
fellas?
to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Even to you. You're not going to be anything funny we find in any of these pockets, are there?
No, let me bring this one out. It's my barber razor.
Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, he's the one she told us about. Oh, the barber. Okay. And they kind of go through, and you can feel that they're very rough a bit with you as they're coming up and down, and they spin you around and like, you're not going to be a problem with Miss Winston Rogers tonight, are you?
As long as she's not a problem with me.
That's not the right answer. Do you want to try
no.
again?
Yeah, it won't be a problem.
Okay, and they're just kind of like looming over you, these big old like Boston accent thugs, right? You may go inside. Opens the door,
Might be
let
so.
you in. Okay, and then Pastor Wood comes up next. And they just like, you're like 10, 20 feet away, and they're chuckling as you're coming up. This fucking guy. Let me guess, you're the pastor.
Evening. I'm the pastor.
I'm sorry, Father. We're going to have to pat you down or something. If you could just
There's no
step
need
up.
for that. Here, I could just, and I take out my gun from the holster and just hand it to him.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you're trying to sneak through or anything like that?
I might also have a knife and then the snub nose revolver.
Okay. Do you take those out or do you try to get past with them?
I wouldn't hide them, but I would try to say like, essentially like I'm handing the gun so you don't have to pat me down is what I'm going with.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you. Against the wall, please.
There's no need for that. I'm a pastor after all.
Uh-huh. I'm pretty sure your kind is responsible for a significant amount of the violence and suffering that our species has to face on a daily basis. So, against the wall, please.
We do as the Lord commands. And I go against the wall.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem. And he starts like kind of going through here and there. He found like an atheist Boston thug. he's got really high level thinking.
Okay, I really love this guy. I'm super into this guy.
Wait until you learn his name. I love his name so much. It's ridiculous.
Well, I completely forgot that I had that in my back pocket.
Oh, did you now? How interesting. And what's this too? Oh, geez. 3 weapons.
Well, I assume the firearms were all you were looking for. Well, not much a man can do with just a knife.
Mm-hmm. And you have a snub-nosed pistol as well, right?
Yeah.
He pulls that out.
So just the 3 weapons are what I have.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, why exactly does a pastor need 3 weapons carrying around?
There's a lot of atheists out there.
He leans in closely. You can go inside. And he kind of pats you like really roughly, like to the point where like your shoulder almost dislocates. And he lets you inside. Okay. And then finally, Shaima, you come up and it's the same process. Excuse me, ma'am, if you wouldn't mind stepping off to the side here, give my associate here your bag.
Yes. Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anything, we're going to find any surprises in here?
No.
Okay. Fantastic. And do you have any weapons on you?
There's brass knuckles.
Brass knuckles. He pulls it. We're going to go ahead and keep these. You can beat this up on your way out, but I like your style. And he kind of puts them in this little bag he has next to him. All right. You can go inside. You're the last to arrive. Well, Miss Winston Rogers will be here shortly, but the rest of your party's inside.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And she adjusts her dress. She walks in. Like she's just constantly tugging at their dress.
Okay. And as the door kind of closed, you hear like the tail end of like, was that a cat call? Did you just get cat called? As like they're like you just hear like this vague thing. You take a look at that one, and then the door closes.
That is a very weird show because I don't think it has ever happened before. So she's convinced it must not be about her.
Okay. So you guys are all inside this beautiful dining table. That's much bigger than you need it for. Like it could probably fit 3 times as many people as are sitting around it. And you have all this ample space between each of your seats. You can see there's no food out, but there's definitely drinks. You can see there's wine. You can see that there is like an assortment of beverages as well. And you can see there's also a small car off to the side where you can kind of take care of yourself if you have any particular needs. But otherwise, it's just the 5 of you momentarily. And I would say most of you probably haven't seen each other in, 3 or 4 weeks. As most of November, you guys have gone your separate ways. It was end of October, beginning, like maybe 1st of November when you guys kind of split. Pastor Wood and Patrick, you've seen each other a little bit, Bev and Shaima, but all of you together, it's the first time you've probably been in a room together for about 4 weeks now. You guys do anything or say anything or observe anything?
Dr. Key, it's been a while since I've seen you, but I meant to get you a message. Mr. Axley left a message for you at the hotel in LA. I said I'd pass it on.
Well, that is delayed. I have seen him already. Thank you. And like she's kind of
I haven't seen you since.
She looks kind of more pale than I guess she normally is. And she does still move about more listless than I think you're used to her. And she just kind of drifts away from you without really acknowledging you further, straight to the bar to like make herself a drink before she goes and she sits away from you guys. And she just has her paperwork in front of her and she's just kind of staring off. If there's like a fireplace, she's like staring at the fire.
Well, now, did y'all see that? Normally her face gets a little bit more color when that man is mentioned.
Emma has been like visibly like very excited to see all of you and like doing that double handshake and hugs wherever it's possible. But as soon as Pastor says that, like he kind of immediately will walk over to Dr. Key and like Dr. Here, is everything still that book? And she will say quietly.
And she kind of like cocks her head to the side as she thinks. Maybe. Have you been to the movies?
No, I've been working on my paper mostly. I actually spoke with Dr. Lanford, which I ought to tell you about.
Oh, we spoke. I didn't realize you weren't undeclared, or I wouldn't have written that for you.
I did not. He made allowances for me. I hope it won't be a problem.
What allowances?
He seemed to be interested in the work that I was doing to grow the Mascronic library.
And she doesn't immediately respond. Plain words, Shaima. What did you promise?
I don't think I promised anything. I told him about my paper. I told him about the books we found.
You told a librarian about our books?
Because it was part of my paper.
And
I needed to
no
maintain
one else
my scholarship.
should read these. They're...
Well, he didn't ask to read them, and I didn't offer. I simply told him I came across some books that might be worth review.
Librarians love nothing more than adding to their collection. There's a reason they're known as dragons.
And Gemma kind of straightens off at that. Someone's calling me a dragon?
Yeah. And like normally that would get like a positive response from Bev. Like she'd find you cute. But like again, she just has this like listless stare off to the side as she's clearly listening to the room because she's kind of on edge. She's been on edge since she heard this in the movie theater. Where
Jeff, do I need to roll anything to understand that like Bev is behaving out of character?
No, I don't think so.
I think you know her well enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you all know her well enough.
Okay. Then Chima is instantly going to clock that and sort of take you by the elbow. Say, why don't we sit down? I'll fix you a drink. I know how you like it.
Okay, and then the one that she just made herself, she downs it immediately and then sets it aside and waits for you to bring her another one.
But Shama's gonna make sure she's seated before she gets a drink.
Okay.
And she'll ask the room at large if the rest of you have seen any movies.
I don't really like the ones that talk. That it feels like a gimmick.
Got
Patrick,
one or two.
Did you and Anna go to any? Okay.
We see movies all the time. We've caught one or two in the theaters.
Did you see the new Olivia Clarendon movie?
It wasn't a new one. I should point out it was an older one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or the showing of the title of the movie.
That's fine. The Pace That Kills. It's up to you,
Certainly,
Patrick. Do you want?
You might have showed up.
Did you see the Piano Man in the movie? Did you hear it?
Hear it? Well, yeah, he played a song.
No. And then this is the moment where like she's clutching her purse, and like she goes to like open it, but then she decides not to. Do we know when Janet's gonna arrive?
Well, she should be here soon.
Maybe we'll wait, and I'll just tell you all at once.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything?
Marie was just standing inside the door as the first one there. So everybody that came in got, sort of the overly exaggerated hug, kiss on either cheek. Like she was just kind of being the greeter as everyone came in. And then she just sort of like makes herself a drink and she's just sort of watching the exchanges that are happening at this point.
Looking good, Pasta? How's the family?
Oh, they're doing well. They're doing well. There was a incident, but nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Same on my side.
You had an
Good to see
incident
you,
too? What
Patrick.
happened?
Well, yeah, Patrick, what happened?
Incident. I don't think there was an incident.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Pastor Wood, what was your incident?
Oh, it was nothing. It was nothing. Patrick, I could use another haircut, actually. I haven't gotten one since I last saw you. Any chance your shop is still open?
Of course, come by anytime.
Well, I kind of meant tonight.
Oh. Favor for a friend, then.
Whenever you get the chance, no rush.
And during these conversations, I stare a moment longer at their mouths when they're talking.
Okay.
Patrick, my eyes are up here.
One of the things you notice, in fact, like when Beverly talks, like every time Beverly talks, Patrick, you notice like there's like a slowdown for a bit, it's just ever so slightly. Like she goes to speak, and it almost seems like for a split second, the mouth movement and what she's saying is sort of like separated, but then it quickly catches up, just like. And then she starts, like it could just be her. Maybe she's a little drunk and slurring. She's just had a couple hard drinks. It could be something more. Who knows? But it looks a little odd. It's like her mouth starts moving. Then sound comes out. There's that beat.
Yeah, it just keeps me fascinated. Like they'll catch me staring at their mouths when they're talking to me. Just really concentrate on that.
Yeah. At a certain point, we'll say the door opens up and you see moving into the room in all her magnificent state, as if she owns the place, is Janet Winston Rogers. And she is wearing a beautiful navy blue gown. And you can see as she comes in, no hat this time, as it looks like she's more wearing like fine wear, elegant wear. And you can tell she has some beautiful jewelry like across her chest. Her neckline is a little bit lower than you've seen it in the past. Most of the times you've seen her, it's been a very professional looking look. And this is the first time that you've seen her in something that's a little bit more extravagant. And as she comes in, she turns around. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Sullivan. Let the kitchen know we're ready. And then doors closed. And she looks out at you all as she comes around. She sits at the head of the table. Hello, darlings. Hello, darlings. You look like, well, some of you look quite distinguished. Others, well, thank you for making an effort, Mr. Wood. Patrick. Ladies, you look lovely this evening.
Well, you know what they say. You can put a toad in a tuxedo, but that don't make it a prince.
Do they say that? Well, how very interesting. Now, I have very little time, so let's get down to business quite quickly. I've reviewed all of your various notes and such that you've sent me, and I can tell you that I am most concerned, and I fear that your jobs are not yet done.
I agree with that.
I thought you might. Now, I have spoken with Mr. Kearns, and he has assured me that his wonderful plane of ours has the capacity to travel far beyond our continental states. So, I would like to commission you all for additional investigation. I don't quite feel my father's mystery has been fully revealed just yet, and I would like to know a little bit more. Plus, I'm quite certain now that both myself and you all are in danger. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Have you encountered anything?
Since you ask, yes. A few weeks ago, my home, the reason we're having our meeting here within the Miskatonic, is because I don't quite know that my home is safe. We have seen a few individuals within the neighborhood. You can know very clearly and very quickly that they should not be there. Now, before you accuse me of some sort of classism or what have you, I can assure you that it's not because their mode of dress or their behavior, but just the way they lingered on certain streets. Cars on side of the road. Cars parked in places where they shouldn't be for far longer than they should be.
Did they have neck tattoos?
I beg your pardon. I did not speak with them directly, but I have not heard any sort of testimony as to the effect of tattoos on necks. Should that be something I should be looking for?
That was one of the groups that we did encounter, but not the ones that we were figured would make their way.
I will inform Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Walnuts, and they will make sure to look into this for me. It is my security team. I'm told they're quite capable.
Ma'am, have we done something to lose your trust?
Have you? Well, not at all, Mr. Wood. Why would you think that?
Well, because your security team has disarmed me and left us at the mercy of my enemies.
Are your enemies within this room currently, Mr. Wood?
I did not think so, but apparently you think that they might be if they're patting us down on the way in.
Is it the mark of a gentleman to bring a firearm and a knife and a second firearm to dinner?
I don't often claim to be a gentleman.
Well, that is good then, because you would be very much a liar. No, you have not lost my trust, Mr. Wood. To answer your initial question, have I lost yours?
No, ma'am. I wouldn't be here if you had.
Well said. Now, that we are beyond this, this is just routine. You see, there was an incident, one in which one of our staff was very severely injured. My dear Apollonia she was run over in our neighborhood just a few weeks ago. She is currently convalescing, and of course I am fitting the bill for that. But one of these vehicles lingering in the neighborhood in places that they shouldn't. She had been walking my dear dog, Daisy, getting his usual, yes, I said it, getting his usual breath of fresh air in the afternoon, just before a rainstorm, when one of these vehicles peeled out and ran over my dear maid. Now, I'm told she'll be able to make a recovery, but exactly what that state will be, I'm not yet sure. However, I will not take any more additional risks, which is why I have holed up here within the Miskatonic. Everyone here on staff is under my payroll, and they would definitely not do anything that would harm me. It's far more centralized, I have more resources, and although my home is quite a lovely one, it is detached, you would say, from various law enforcement. So, for the time being, I will be here. So address your correspondence accordingly.
Yes, ma'am.
During this, you would notice that Marie usually looks people full in the face, but you would notice, like other people might notice, that she's sort of looking in Janet's direction, but not sort of fully meeting her gaze during this conversation after their last discussion and the shooting and all of that. She's a little kind of head slightly bowed.
Well, I get the feeling that they know more about me than I know about them. So, I'm not quite sure how they would have acquired that information, but clearly they have gotten it. My home address, my name, and they have even, I believe, possibly have come to some of my places of businesses. However, that is not your concern. Your concern is not my security. That's what I have Mr. Walnuts and Mr. Sullivan for. My concern for you is to get to the bottom of this. That's what you were hired for initially, and that's how I will continue to pay you as such. She looks around for a second. Patrick! Are you paying attention?
Hello, Janet.
How are your sessions with Dr. Mulik?
I think they're going quite well.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it. My father saw him for a time, you know. Some of our best times in the 20s were when he was meeting with Dr. Mulig and giving all sorts of testimony, but it was a fleeting piece. But it was one that both my mother and I quite enjoyed before her passing, of course. Hopefully, whatever he's able to do for you and what's knocking around in your noggin has a more lasting effect. We wouldn't want Anna to become estranged before even getting married now, would we?
Of course not.
Of course not. How is dear Anna?
She's fine.
Oh, such a poet you are, such a poet. Now, enough with the pleasantries, they are a waste of my time. What would you say is your course of action? You've collected a great deal of intelligence between Savannah and Los Angeles, I assume. This cult seems to be currently operational, I see. Do you have any inklings on where you should be heading next, and what leads you should be following, suspects you should be looking into?
We have leads that could lead us potentially in 3 or so different directions. As I'm sure you saw, we had some leads in the direction of Bangkok. We had some leads potentially in the direction of Eritrea, and we had some leads in the direction of Mexico City. And she'll kind of look around the table a little bit because we haven't actually seen each other in a while. And she'll just say, I believe when we were last discussing these leads that Mexico City was our most likely next destination. Yes. And she sort of looks around the table just to make sure that no one changed their mind about that.
That was my understanding as well.
I agree.
Wonderful.
Recently, I had seen an old film that Olivia Clarendon was in, and
The Olivia Clarendon.
yes,
I've heard she's had a little bit of a soiree, a fling, you might say, with some mysterious bachelor. Some photographs have been circulated, I see.
really.
I wonder who it could be.
And I think we
Patrick,
all
you said
look at
Anna is doing
Patrick.
fine, yes? She looks over in your direction. Did you enjoy your time in Los Angeles?
Oh, it's exquisite. It's quite the place.
Oh, I'm sure you did. And she goes back to bed. I'm sorry, Dr. Key. I interrupted you. Please continue.
No. The soundtrack I was able to hear within the movie was one of the records that was hinted to be recorded. That is, we believe, we haven't figured out how yet, but in relation to the creation of nectar. So.
I see.
Oh,
And-
and in fact, I found an additional record as well by the same artist. I was able to gather a little bit of extra information.
How very wonderful, Miss Wynne. Kudos on you for your downtime being productive.
And she lifts her head slightly from sort of the downcast gaze that she had.
But I do agree. I think Mexico should be our first course of action. It seems to be a hub of distribution. And maybe we could get some more information of what's feeding back to you.
I see. Miss Oberon, you've been quiet. I did not bring you into this small group of ours to be quiet. What do you think?
I don't think I have anything else to offer. I think everybody has made a wonderful point about heading to Mexico City next. But and I just got in trouble with my department head for my scholarship, and I may need some help speaking with him and them before I go.
What's the name of your department head?
Dr. Cyrus Lanfer.
I'll see to it. Do not concern yourself. All of these academics consider themselves so erudite, so above and beyond the petty squabbles of capitalism. I can assure you that if I write a big enough check, they'll let you do anything you want.
All right. If you need my help getting an appointment, I can probably get you an appointment.
You are a very sweet girl. Foolish, but very sweet. I can assure you, I shall have no issues speaking with your department head.
Foolish.
Bev kind of smiles. Janet's name is enough to receive an appointment instantaneously to clear his schedule.
Oh, wait, he's leaving for a holiday break, so maybe you can get him before he goes.
As I said, do not worry. I shall take care of it.
Thank you, Miss Winston Rogers.
You are quite welcome, my dear. Well then, it seems you all are of a similar thought process. Mexico City it is. You'll leave tomorrow?
At the earliest convenience.
I'm sorry. Did you mistake that for a question? That was a statement. You'll leave tomorrow.
Yes, of course.
She kind of just like stares daggers at like Patrick. You're like on the complete opposite side of the dining table at her. She's just kind of staring at you. It's like just daring you to say something.
Getting scorned lover vibes. Like, what happened?
She stands up at this point and says, "What's that, Patrick? Did you have something to say?"
No, of course not. I'll be ready tomorrow.
Oh, yes, you will. Yes, you will. And poor Anna will be alone again. She stands up at that point, and you can see she starts putting her gloves back on. Now, you may stay here and enjoy the dinner, but I have other parties to attend to. I imagine you will be leaving again tomorrow, first thing in the morning as dawn breaks. I've already informed Mr. Kearns. And I will have Mr. Walnuts. You will forward off a message to Mr. Kearns to ensure that your flight plan is prepared and ready to go for your arrival. Make whatever final arrangements you need. Say whatever goodbyes you have to say. And I would encourage all of you to construct a will if you have not already. Now, good night. And she leaves.
You could see that Marie actually sort of relaxed a little bit when she did say that there would be food coming, because Marie had kind of like walked in and was like sort of anxiously waiting for food to arrive, as she just had to spend all of her money on broken record.
And food does come. Like you do get a lavish, amazing meal. Like 5 courses, like you get everything. It's just a beautiful, wonderful, no expense spared kind of meal. You're never asked for money, like anything like that. All of it's taken care of. So we can say that
before that, Shema actually leaves. Like, she excuses herself and she's like, I have to go tell some people I'm leaving. And she bounces.
Okay. The rest of you get an amazing meal. Yeah. The rest of you get this amazing meal then. Okay.
And I think during the meal, like, Bev would be more frank about the weird things. Like, that's when she would get into about the Trammell's Testament and that she read and everything that she kind of uncovered. And unfortunately, Shema does not get the briefing. And then she does go into her kind of like scary experience at the movie theater and thinking that the black man was standing there waiting for her, but then she saw that it was actually Ed.
Well, I will also share, and Marie will kind of tell the story of her earlier encounter with Janet and the dream that Janet shared about Marie shooting her and that whole scenario that happened. So it's not just those of us that were in LA that or in Savannah that have been overcome by these visions. It is even Miss Winston Rogers herself, who did not partake in any of the travels with us, who is also having these visions.
But the movie that I saw was an older movie, and still it was infected with the music that I wonder if that's part of how they, because in the testament it was speaking about how to increase production of the sputum, and what if the music that they're having Dela Cruz create or Luz create is part of that.
Well, I must say that this record that I felt so thankful to be able to find another record from Mexico City here in the music shop here in Arkham. Though I have to say the response was quite different. We all remember the response to the music and Nectar in LA, but this music, you all have traveled with me before. You know I'm quite even-tempered, but almost instantaneously, I felt the urge to break something, and I picked up the record nearest to me and broke it right in half. Just unacceptable behavior. But that was the response that I had to hearing this music, which was quite different. And she sort of looks over at Patrick. It's quite different to the music and Nectar, that experience that we had in LA.
So the other thing, Marie, is you purchased the record, so you would have it. You probably wouldn't have it necessarily in the room right now, but you would know that the title of it was
Cuckoo Song?
Spanish. Well, that's what it's going to translate to, but you don't. So it's Canción del Cuco. I think, I'm not sure how it's pronounced in Spanish. I'm sorry. Which Pastor Wood would be able to very easily translate as cuckoo song.
Well, that's most interesting. We'll need to see. And I also did get a name as well. That the singer, the music store owner here, had the sense that this Luz sounded very much like a singer that at one time had been known as Rosie Maria Lopez. So we have even more information than we did previously.
Rosario.
Curious.
All right. So do you guys do anything else at this table? Do you talk about anything else at this table, or do you retire for the night and prepare to leave in the morning?
Depends on if Patrick's willing to cut my hair before we go.
Before we go, or at the shop?
Well, like at the shop, because I don't have anywhere else to stay, so I'm following you home.
Right at the dining table. Okay. So
and if you are willing to cut my hair, then I would want to pry a little bit, and Pastor Wood would ask what happened between Patrick and Janet.
Oh, Janet, yes. Well, her father, Charles, he's a regular here. I got to know him a lot. Maybe I think she's a bit jealous. Was closer to him than she was.
Jealous that you were friends with her father.
Oh, almost like a son to him.
And there was never any romantic entanglements between the two of you?
None at all.
Interesting. Well, I won't pry any further then, if that's all there was. You could tell there was a bit of tension.
There always is when it comes there.
Oh, you nicked me there.
We should have been moving.
Not the barber's fault.
It's like the scissors aren't even near him, or like the blade, it's like over here. And Pastor's just trying to change the subject. It's like little kids when they're like, ow.
Okay, so we'll say the dining ends. Everyone kind of goes to their various places. Pastor, you follow Patrick Marie, maybe you go stay with Nancy again. Beverly, you have your own home. Shaima, what were you doing when you left? Is there anywhere in particular you were trying to go?
First, she's definitely getting her snuggles back.
Oh, yeah. You get your stuff back, no issues.
Cool. Then she's gonna go in and go out around the hotel to the back to tell Chris she can't make dinner tonight. They were planning on hanging out. And she goes on back, and because that's where she normally hangs out with people here. And then she goes home and tells her parents that she's going on some field work. And she's not sure how long she'll be gone.
Okay, so give me a persuade roll, or actually, know what? Yeah, give me a persuade roll. Persuade roll is fine. As you tell them this, as this is coming out of your mouth, you're talking about field work. Will be gone. Don't know how long. Like, their faces are looking at you. The heads are kind of coming down. Wrinkles are starting to crease in the forehead. And then you suddenly hear, field work. They value you so very much. And they're like all extra. We are so proud of you, Shaima. And so and your mom's like, Shaima Oberon, Miskatonic University researcher. And they start like coming around and hugging you. And she rolled one.
Back with excited verb that again never happened before.
Exactly. Like, you're getting this just like utter like this huge hug. Like, they're like, your parents are on both sides. They're hugging, and they're just like kind of kissing you on the cheek. And it's just like this deluge of positive emotion that probably doesn't usually happen very often, I guess.
Never happens.
So this notion of you going on field work to do research for the university,
for my scholarship, can you believe it?
I can't. And like, your mom's just like, and you can finally put this silly wrestling thing to bed and finally take on a proper career path.
Yeah, no, yes.
She's just, I'm so happy to hear. And so like, so it's
smart enough to know not to
let
get
it go.
into it right now.
Just let that go. And so it's actually a quite wonderful final night that you have within Arkham. And I'll tell you what, Shaima, go ahead and roll a d6 right now. Actually, no, roll 2d6, we'll say, because things went pretty well for you.
Amazing.
2d6.
Yay.
Oh my.
So
go ahead
11.
and restore 11 points of sanity to yourself, as you have had such a absolutely wonderful visit. You have met with your department head, who has been willing to actually like give you proper credentials for doing this. You met with your wrestling coach, who told you all sorts of wonderful stories. You met with your friend at the hotel, who was like super happy to see you. You met with your parents and rolled a natural freaking one, and they're ridiculously supportive of all your endeavors here. And somehow the lie of what you're doing hasn't quite proliferated out to all of these various individuals.
How is my train the only one who plays Call of Cthulhu and ends up more sane when she started?
Don't worry. That's
I was just gonna say I have like 25 more sanity than when we started, and that feels very weird.
That can't be right. Okay. Let's go to Beverly. So Beverly, what were the last things you do while you are in Arkham? Your last night? Anything in particular that you would do?
She'll offer for Marie to come stay with her if she'd like, just to carpool to the plane. Okay. And then she spends the night just kind of having some normal girl talk with Marie, like no business she pens a letter to Ed, kind of letting him know that she won't be available for a while because she has to travel, but she'll reach out to him when she can. And then, some salacious bits, I'm sure, near the end for Ed. And spritzes it with some perfume.
Beverly, we're going to give you 1d6 for the time that you spent with Ed Exley. It otherwise was a fairly difficult couple of weeks for you as you dug through that Trammel stuff. Aww.
I got
that's
one.
Oh, man.
Marie, Beverly offers. Do you take her up on this offer to go with her?
I do. I will run a quick errand first, and so she will go over to Nancy's real quick. She kind of for the holidays has put together kind of 2 small packages, and so one is just a little bit of sort of yarn or something for Clara. So she wants to get just sort of one final cat scritches in before she leaves, and she I think has maybe kind of sewn like a small like kerchief or something for Nancy as sort of a thank you because she overstayed her welcome crashing on her couch for the first part of this.
And tried to set the apartment on fire. Yeah.
And that too. So yes,
go ahead.
Small.
Go ahead and give us a
doesn't make up for the
D6.
fire.
Go ahead and give us a D6. We'll say you had a nice visit here. There. Oh my. Marie also
A 1.
gets just the 1. And then we go to Patrick and Pastor. You two head back. Patrick, I presume you give Pastor a haircut. But do you do anything else, Patrick? Do you reach out to Anna? Do you say anything to her?
Yeah, another goodbye, leaving for a moment. And then leaving a note for Peter. He's got to run the shop solo again.
Okay. So we're going to do a couple things for you, Patrick. First, give me a D6 for the time that you spent with Anna. As you did have a very nice...
2.
Okay, so you get 2 back. Then you've also been having... you basically spent the last month, about 4 weeks or so, in private care, trying to recover from your indefinite insanity with Dr. Mulik. And you have been telling him... You said you were telling him basically everything, right? So give me a D100 roll to see how these treatments have been going this month.
Rolled this 67.
Okay. 67 is a success. Go ahead and now roll 1d3. So these treatments have actually restored 1d3 sanity points.
1.
Go ahead and add another point of sanity. This is just like Simbaroon the other night when you guys couldn't roll anything.
Wow. So many ones.
Then, Patrick, you can now make a SAN roll. And let me know how you do.
55 over 37.
So you fail?
Yeah.
Okay. You have not cured the underlying insanity. It will continue. You're not underlying, you're indefinite insanity. So it will continue. You will need to do more treatments. Obviously, you're going on a trip right now, so you probably won't be able to be doing them then. But in your next, if you make it out of Mexico, or if you find somebody else in Mexico to talk to, maybe. But for now, your indefinite insanity continues. And so maybe Dr. Mulik says, I will want to see you again when you return from your travels. We have much work to do. I feel we have gotten very close, but we have but scratched the surface of the various troubles that seem to be plaguing you, my young man.
I understand. I'll see you soon.
And do not worry, Miss Winston Rogers has assured me that she will pay for all of your treatments. She is a very kind woman.
It's quite nice of her.
Yes. So that's what Patrick gets. And then Pastor Wood, any last things you do?
Nope, just crashing on Patrick's couch.
Okay. Pastor Wood, give us that D6 roll.
All right.
See how it goes.
4. Okay, that's decent.
See? Stephen played that extremely smart. First, he rolled physical die, so that doesn't really matter what he rolled. Then he didn't say 6 because we wouldn't believe him, right? He said 4.
Oh, I misread that. That's 40.
Totally reasonable number. Totally reasonable number.
40. You was 40 on a D6.
Okay.
I'm trying to roll dice like you're me.
Okay.
There can only be one.
So, morning comes, you all get your cabs or you take your own private cars. One by one, you head back to the Arkham airport. You're outside of Arkham, I should say. You meet up with Frank Kearns. Very happy to see you all again. Load up the plane. And the last thing we see is the Silverlance once more taking off, flying up into the air, and heading southwestward into the direction of Mexico freaking City. And that is where we'll end, and we'll pick up in Mexico City next time and begin the next leg of this investigation. Okay, guys.
Yay.
All right.
Fantastic. All right. Oh, poor guys. Who has a 37 sanity? Someone's really low. Who was low?
That's me.
You know, Long, you could try to play these games with higher sanity. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's fine.
It's
You're
like a
okay.
pattern.
You're okay. You're all right. I mean, you're going to pass 1 and 3 times, so that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Who else is next? Shima, keeping it together. Keeping it together. I'm going through your sanity scores right now. Pastor Wood.
58.
Pastor Wood has a surprisingly amount of sanity. We got to do something about that.
I'm surprisingly sane.
Like
That
6.
is-
I think I'm actually higher than Shima. I'm giving my
Let's
trade
read
shit, but I
some
think mine's
books.
better than hers.
Amazing.
And then, yeah, Bev's not looking great. 54 though, it's not bad.
It's not
54
bad.
is
But
not
it's not
bad.
great.
Man, you must have started pretty low, Patrick, to be down at 37.
Yeah, started around the 40s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your POW was only 50. Yeah, you put 50 into POW. And I think everybody else 60 from Zeph. Oh, Shima only had 50. So Shima, yeah, you are higher than you were before. I think that's okay. I think that's allowable. As long as you don't go above like your max. So usually it's 99, but if you have any Cthulhu mythos, then that brings your sanity score down. Like Bev has what, 2 points in Cthulhu mythos? Yeah. So your max is 97. Okay, let's go ahead and get on out of here. Let's do some plugs. Steven, let's go ahead and start with my trade. Tell us where we can find you on the internet. And then I'm going to switch it up one day, and you're not going to be ready, and you're going to be like, "Bleh."
That's true. I won't be.
Well, until Jeff searches it up, I remain not Steven, unfortunately. But I am on Plays Games on YouTube, where I make multi-system, system agnostic tabletop content that centers the human player experience that you should check it if you want to check out.
Fantastic. And the links will be in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this later on one of the podcast feeds, just check it and you'll find links to everything. All right, Steven, what's up?
I'm making a Weird West game. It's called Huckleberry. Go to huckleberryrpg.com, and everyone who signs up early gets it for free. It releases August 1st, so you really don't have any excuse not to sign up. There's plenty of time. And then after that, you have to pay for it. So you might as well go to the website right now before you forget, sign up, and you'll get a free RPG delivered to your inbox in a couple months. Oh, and if you want to play it, head on over to the Lollygagging Discord, click on the little playtest roll, and you can sign up for playtest sessions. I'm trying to run about 1 a week, and it doesn't cost anything to play. Just come hang out with us and have fun. Play some spooky cowboys with me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And then, Melissa, I'm going to toss it to you because, once again, I'm having trouble finding like usual raid partners. So, Melissa, tell us about the wonderful people that raided us tonight.
So starting off, the first wonderful folks that rated us were Tales of Myth and Mayhem. And then additional wonderful people rated us, and that was Devil Toad DM. So thank you to both of those groups for coming and hanging out with us in our Call of Cthulhu campaign. Did I go long enough? No, not quite.
No, you're good.
And
You're good.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I was going to just
I'm ready
try
to
and
go.
fill some time for you.
I'm ready to go. Thanks everybody hanging out tonight. Thanks for watching. Those of you who are watching this later, appreciate it as well. Check out the YouTube page. Check out all that random stuff. sub, follow, like, subscribe. I don't know what the hell you're supposed to say. Anyhow, good night. We're going to raid Transplanar RPG. They're playing a RPG. So that's what we just did. And so they're doing it too. So let's go say hi to them. So bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.